Today we're going to be talking about Sage Intacct and specifically a little bit of a deeper dive into jobs or projects if you like to use that terminology. So I'm in my sample company, Timberline General Construction, and I have a couple ways I could get to my jobs. I could click on my star, and these are my favorites, and I'm going to jump to my jobs. As you can see here, I have my list of jobs that are in this entity and a couple different things before I jump and dive right into a job. Let's talk about views. Up at the top, you see I have a drop down arrow under jobs and I can say all. Maybe I want to look at this traditional view. This is a traditional view that comes with the program. But what's important to note on this screen and many others in the program is that you can manage your views. So maybe you wanted this listing to look a specific way. You can come in here and you can create a new view and you can call it, give it a specific name so that when you come here to the All tab, I have one called Jobs. I have a couple different columns that I've added to this view that I like to see when I pull up my job listing. So important to note, these views are not only on this job screen, but that it can also be done throughout the program. So here are my list of jobs. I have some here until I get down to what's called Deer Creek Plantation. And then you can see I have an indentation with a green box here. And that means that these jobs are tied to this main job. So think of it as parent-child jobs. So if you had a job that you would call a parent job and then you had subsequent or sub jobs under that, you would have the ability to do that type of hierarchy creation in Sage Intacct. And then you can also determine, am I going to invoice at the parent level or am I going to invoice at the sub-job level? We also have the ability to do that as well. So let's dive into a job. I'm going to pick my Ryder Cup job since that just ended not too long ago. Now I'm in my given job, my Ryder Cup job, and the first thing you're going to notice is the job ID. So you have flexibility as to if you have this auto number or if you're going to create a unique job ID every time you set up a job. My system is set up to start with the year and then sequentially after that. So this is the second job I have created in 2021 since I have set up this sequential numbering system. Job name, job category. So if you wanted to categorize your jobs, you can do that as well. This is my contract. Maybe you have some internal jobs, or maybe you might have some other types of classifications that you would need for your categories. Right under that is job type. So do you have different job types in your company? I have commercial, I have golf course, hotel, etc. What you would do is you can add it right from here. If you wanted to create a new type, you would click add. So let's just say this is the demo example. Did I want a parent type? No, I don't today. I'm just going to go ahead and save that. So now when you click the drop down, you have commercial, you have demo example, etc. Right under that, description. And to the right, your customer. Who's my customer? Do I need to add somebody? Do I need to find? I can do that right from this screen. My job beginning and end date. And this is what I was just talking about, that parent job. So is this a sub job of a parent job? And how are we going to invoice this? This is all on the first screen of your job setup. Scrolling down a little bit, my job status, is this an active job? Is it in progress, on hold, completed? What is my job status? Is it active? Is it inactive? Do I want this to be included in different lists once I complete it? So you can use these drop downs to determine that information. Below that, who's my job manager, my sales contact? These aren't required. If you want to complete them, you can. It is up to you. Then if you wanted to have some sort of business rules, who can enter time for this job. Did you want to have specific rules created? You would assign that rule to this here. In my case, I'm just saying this time can be entered by any user. Additional information, this is where we're going to be able to have a little fun with this job. So I've entered, in this particular one, there's some custom fields. So if I wanted to create any kind of additional information or custom fields and I wanted to include that on the screen, in this particular one, it happened to do with a container size. Needed for shipping, we wanted to know about containers. So I'm going to say, yep, we're going to include that 40-foot container. I also noted some materials needed on this job. If you wanted to track milestones and percent complete as of a certain date, that can be done here in this part of the program. Important contacts on the job. How are we going to bill? What are our terms? Are we going to do T&M? Are we going to do fixed fee? What's our contract amount? More general information. Right below that, those dimensions. If you've been on other Intacct webcasts, dimensions are very important to be able to analyze your data, tag your data. Do we want to assign this to a department? Do we want to assign this to a location? And then some additional information below that. And then job summary, I'm going to jump to job summary. This is going to be financial summaries, budget summary, and then hourly below that. And all this information as we have costs and hours onto this job, these would flow through to these fields, and then we have the ability to pull these into job cost reports. If we are doing billable expenses, more of a T&M type billing, you would be seeing the billed versus unbilled expenses as well in the summary format on this tab. I'm going to jump to cost codes. So cost codes, here's where you're going to be adding your cost codes to a specific job. You can upload them, you can add the standard cost code category. So there's different ways to assign cost codes to your job, to your projects. And the all-important estimate. On this particular job, I just have one estimate. But with the power of Intacct, you can have as many estimates here as you want. So maybe if you have, oh, I don't know, version 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever that might look like, those would all be listed here. You would mark one of those as your primary being the one that's going to be flowing into your job cost reports when you do budget to actual. And if you wanted this to post to your GL budgets, this box would also be checked. And then you'd pick what budget you want to have this flow through to. As I click into the job estimate tab, here you're going to see some additional components. One's going to be estimate type. So here's where you have the ability to have these different estimate types. Maybe you want original, maybe you want some forecasted estimates. You have the ability to create them, and like I mentioned a minute ago, mark the primary one as primary. All of this information, I have a couple of these fields hidden, but your job information, if you're going to integrate this with your GL budgets, do you want to have this job post to GL budgets field checked? And then the detail estimate entry. This particular one is not a huge job. It has 3 lines, but this could be, you might have a job with 200 lines, 200 cost codes and cost types and divisions. So we have the ability to upload estimates into the system, and we can also upload the estimates into the system with a work breakdown structure, which I'll show you where we can do that in a minute. Scrolling a little bit further down, here is our change request estimate entries. So if we had this particular job has one change request for additional materials, It is hyperlinked. So if I wanted to drill down into this change request, let me make this a little bit bigger.